using it.
Fair weather friend.
I got the
Yeah.
sense that when I it started to feedback right about just past fader on zero, and then when I engaged it, I could push it all the way up like till the fader couldn't go up anymore, and it was doing what it was supposed to do. But I got a sense that it was loading
No.
loading the computer really heavily, and it was started to kind of crunch. And I think, Wayne, that was probably the computer then, right? Because you were using.
Yeah, well, I was having, that's the problem I was having. That's why it was a proof of concept.
Right, right.
Only I never intended to use it for the show until I get my computer situation squared away.
Right, but for the generalness of it, I thought it worked, you know.
Oh
I
yeah, it works.
it works, I was pretty surprised.
It works good. Did you see the post that Scully put up in the office in the
Scully, you mean?
back
Yeah.
lounge?
Yeah.
I mean, that was pretty impressive. That and hey, so what can I tell you? It works for sure. It works. I mean, people are the show from last week had more views than I even imagined possible
You wouldn't
having. I
believe
mean,
how many people have gotten a hold of me and said that they watched the video of it.
Yeah.
And
oh, it's crazy how many
Yeah,
people. I mean,
I've had
well,
a few.
I'd say it's close to 5,000 people have watched, and that was, it's still going strong, which
So
A
is
lot of people are
amazing.
using reference to the video for people that have questions in the Facebook group.
Yeah, I
I
just
saw
copy and paste it right
Greg
in.
just copies and pastes it in there. I saw it like 6 times. I'm like, Greg's promoting the shit out of the show.
when Jeff
Well,
Gibson
there you go.
called
That's
me
why
this,
that's why I always give Greg Baker a lot of credit, even for things he doesn't do. It's
Yeah.
amazing,
when
Wait,
when Jeff
what about Jeff Gibson?
when
Yeah, yeah.
Jeff Gibson called me this afternoon, he says, "I saw you in a video, a Zoom video, with the feedback device." He says that I wanted to talk to you about it, and I'm like, "Holy cow! Great to talk to you! Holy cow! You watched it?" And he said, "Oh yeah, it was really good." So if you'd like, I can read you what he sent to me, which is really quite pertinent. He says it works pretty well, but it still doesn't actually eliminate the feedback completely. If I crank up the input really hard, when the voice is going, you can start to hear a little bit of the feedback coming in, and you can hear it try to notch it out. It
Right.
certainly squishes the in between parts when the threshold is crossed. I don't think it's leaps ahead of WNS or something like that in waves. We just got
Wow.
the Nook, the new Nook, because he was waiting for his too. They did a good job of stripping down Windows, but it's still Windows. I wish it would run on a Mac. And
it won't.
my response to him was, "They're working on it. Sit tight." And then he says, "When I have a rack full of Waves plugins in my MacBook Air, doesn't even struggle.
No.
I think I'll stick with the workflow I have for right now. I run an X feedback and WNS on my Lav and my Lectern groups, and works really, really well." It was so good to see you, Wayne and Ken. Just like old times. We're just that much closer to the old sound guy home.
Well, so
that was
he
just-
said no. He said something that is important there. He
Yes,
said
I'm
when
glad
it-
you're here. Yeah, I'm glad you heard me. That was
when-
that
when-
was Jeff.
when he said it starts to notch it out or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't do any EQing, does it?
No.
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 So the
That's
point
a se-
is
Yeah.
the point is it's not like unlimited level.
Right,
It's going to
right.
give you 3 to 6 dB more of level, and you should do your regular ringing out and so
Right,
forth.
right.
But it'll give you 3 to 6 dB more of headroom before feedback, and that's
And I
exactly what we
really,
need in a lot of
and I think what
situations.
he did and what I did, I wanted to push the shit out of it and see how it responded.
Right.
And it responded as I thought it would, but it did give me even Wayne's when I did it with Wayne and we were running on his little computer, which was not adequate for what we were doing. It still did what it was supposed to do. I was pretty impressed with it. It didn't start crapping out until I really stood on it hard,
So,
Well, listen, I want to
it-
say
it
something.
did-
I want to say something right now. So first of all, I want to point out that it is version number 1.
Yes.
It's the first version,
Yeah.
and he never ever expected this kind of ba 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 boom that it would just explode like that. And
Yeah.
now they're desperately working on version 2, which will work on multiple platforms.
You
Might
don't
not
know
need
that
the
yet.
Nook, all that stuff.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so the thing is, let me ask you this: did you guys, Wayne and Bruce, did you try increasing your buffer size to avoid those crackles?
I have when I had it at home, I played with every buffer size from 16 to 1024, and I just have a little i5. It's just not. It's an older.
Well, listen, what they sold me is just a little anyway.
Yeah,
I know, but
it's not
what
like
I'm telling you
crazy.
is that for whatever reason, that machine is not enough. I'm exploring some avenues, either buying their suggested NUC, or I don't really want to on air publicly state, but I am also working on another possible solution. What I will tell you,
this is what they send me.
Right.
See that model number?
Right.
That is just a regular,
It
nothing
is.
special, but they strip it down, of course.
Yeah,
but the point is, my point is, it's not like it's a super duper i10 or something,
No.
special super.
No, I
It's not a custom
down.
built. It's not custom built.
Right.
Well, Kenny, show us your rig because you just got it. You just showed it to me off air. Show everybody. Let's
see. Well, how's
see
this
what you
camera
got
work?
there.
I don't know if I can get my camera where it is. So it's let's see. So it's hiding over there in the corner because I don't have a whole lot of room here. But you see the screen?
Yeah, we can see the screen.
Away. Anyway, but it's
so have you used it at all yet?
No, I mean at home at my shop, yeah. But
so today in rehearsals you'll be using it for the first time.
Except for we don't rehearse till tomorrow afternoon.
All right.
So tomorrow afternoon, yes.
So you have two channels of it there. What are you running it on? His mic and what else?
Main and spare.
Spare. Okay.
Just like my 5045, it was main and spare also, but I switched it out because I want to hear what it does without the 5045,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So I have two things to say regarding what Bruce was saying from what Jeff Gibson said.
Yeah.
I think ultimately with proper deployment, I think you can get more than 3 to 6.
Right.
Okay. All right.
That's my guess. I don't know. It's gonna, I got to spend some time with it. The other thing is when Jeff talks about D-feedback, now that is a Waves plugin that I have not purchased and used.
Are you talking about X feedback, you mean?
X feedback.
Sorry,
yeah,
X
right.
feedback. But I did own the very first Sabine, and I've been around some of these other devices that employ notch filters, which is not what D-feedback is doing. So I would somewhat disagree that WNS or
it's not going to do the same thing.
Is doing the same thing. It's not the same thing. I've been a WNS user for a long time, and I think that based on our test Friday, I would say that the gain potential is much more than what you can get with WNS. WNS in a live situation gives you some increase, just like the 5045.
Right.
And the reason I've stuck with the WNS is because of the frequency.
Yeah, the controllability. Yeah.
Right.
But they're doing two different things.
Yeah, but to say they're doing the same thing.
So they're just tools in our toolbox, and this is a new tool in our toolbox, and I think it's more effective in some ways than our old tools. That's all.
Right.
That's
I mean, where I disagree with that is it doesn't eliminate feedback. You can't break the laws of physics.
Well, it's trying really hard.
Yeah, well, it does a good job at it, but if you take a microphone and stick it in a speaker at full volume,
So just to tell you, I'm looking at the box of the that the NUC came in. It's an i7 with 8 gigs of RAM, I guess, 256 gig something, P4, Win 11, IoT, Alpha L. Alpha L is the key because they custom, crop it down for them. But then the box looks like this. It's the Asus NUC.
Right.
I don't know if you can see that. NUC 13 Pro. So it's just a regular NUC. It's just that they've trimmed it down. You could do the same thing, is my point.
So Kenny, did you buy that from them?
From Simply NUC. Yeah.
Oh,
and by the way, they're saying that they're having a shortage or a backlog of availability.
The single ones, not the dual, not the
Pro is that right?
model.
Okay. So anyway,
but the other thing is they also Simply NUC also modifies the BIOS in that box before it ships.
Right.
Okay.
And
So
they get
there's
different
If you're
drivers.
Jeff Gibson, you can do that too. You
Right.
know.
That's right.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
somebody
All
who's
I'm
a
saying is,
BIOS
but
level
knowing
tweaker
what
who's
to
going to work on
change
one for
Yeah,
me.
there you
is the
go.
issue.
That's my point.
I
That's my
love the
point in saying that.
excitement in the room. I
And by
love
way,
the excitement.
And by the way, this I looked up this model number of this Nook that I have
Mm-hmm.
on B&H. It's readily available. It's like $700. It's just that it's not tailored to this
Right.
plugin. You know?
I just want to know if it can solve feedback on my Bessie HBO
Yeah,
Bluetooth
of course,
microphone speaker.
The
all be
secret
good.
sauce
I
is
should go get the microphone in which this is patched. I'll be back.
Yeah.
Let me turn my audio off.
the secret sauce
Well, there you
that
have
you're
it.
getting by buying it directly from Alpha Sound or dfeedback.ai is you get a machine with all the BIOS settings that you don't know. They are there for you to change.
That was my
but you don't
question.
know what to change them to. All right. And then you get a customized OS with everything on there.
So they put the program on it and everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. That's great. Because I'm a zipper head when it comes to.
You can go out there. You can go to B&H. You can go. You can go anywhere and buy that box. The one of the big reasons why that box works is because of, like what Devin said, because of the particulars of that CPU that allows them to do all the tweaking that they need to do for optimal performance.
Yeah.
But
right, and it's totally integrated before you buy it.
It will work on a Mac for some people. And everybody's up in roar about this. Well, I run all these freaking plugins on this and that, and and it runs wonderful. And Sully just goes in there and says, "Yeah, I tried it on my on my M3, and it didn't work. And they told me why it wouldn't work. So he said, I'm lucky enough to have a $7,000 Wave server. So I put dfeedback on there plus 3 other plugins."
So did he say that worked? Because Jeff mentioned that he has a Wave server.
Go look at. He did a post in the dfeedback.
It's the live box.
Yeah.
The live box, yes.
And it has to be not the regular Wave server, but the live box. Yeah.
The
live box, right?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good effect you got going on there.
And we hear the theater too.
We get 2 of you.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely feeds back, but then when I punch it in, not so much. Pretty big difference.
It got dry. It got like amazingly dry, like immediately.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, it's really is trying to. It's crazy because listen to this. It's going to take off like crazy at like 8K. Like, did you hear that? Because I'm right next to the speakers. But then if I punch this in, boom. Nice and clean.
Yeah.
Pretty big difference.
Huge difference.
Again, it's not totally eliminating feedback.
No, and they don't promise that either.
Right, but I'm sure it'll give me a ton more headroom.
Yep.
That's great.
They're going to change the laws
that's why it's called
psychics.
defeedback. That's why it's called defeedback rather than no feedback.
E-feedback, eliminate. Yeah, no feedback. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I tell you what, my use on Sunday was great.
I wonder if his next version is, instead of calling it D feedback, go up one level, he'll be calling it E feedback, F feedback.
But I'm sure the whole process of finding the name,
feedback.
Finding the right name for it was probably really interesting because there's so many different things you could have called it. Anti-feedback, all these things that like Behringer has some kind of feedback destroyer, there's all names that have been used already, or there's names that haven't been used yet that would be great, but D-feedback's pretty good.
Well, I think Apple is safe because I doubt he would call it iFeedback.
That's good. Nice one, Wayne.
That's funny.
Yeah, but he could have called it F feedback,
So did I hear you say that the multi-channel unit is not the bigger computer is not back ordered?
That's what he's been saying. Yes.
Okay, because if I get one of these, it's going to be the right, the 4-channel one. Yeah.
I just ordered mine, and they said 10 to 14 day lead time. And so I'm just waiting. That was about 3 days ago.
That's not bad.
I've been running it on I have a gaming laptop that has an i7 in it, and it does okay with one, but it's not going to be the rig I wanted. So, and like Greg pointed out, I really wanted to go through their configured box and kind of unwind it a little bit and see if I could maybe, get a less expensive device later on if I wanted to add a second license or something.
Yeah, that's why I have somebody who's a BIOS level tweaker who's working on a.
Is that Gary?
No, somebody else.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Speaking of license,
solution.
how many machines can you enable the license on? Do you know?
One at a time.
One concurrent.
Just one, huh?
Yeah. One CPU.
Yeah.
You can transfer it easily, but it's one concurrent.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I was thinking about doing, just out of interest, is one of the things I was contemplating is once I get the computer squared away and transfer the license over and everything else, what I was considering doing was buying a second Super Rack Performer license because they're cheap, right? $100, or the other day they were on sale for $79, and using that as the VST host, because the metering and the GUI is so much better than the little VST host. Like in the little VST host,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
On the engine input, like you can see full meters, but
you can hardly read it.
Yeah.
You can't expand it.
This app they give you with it is, dare I say,
it's not for old people.
For a second, piece of shit.
It's not for old people at all.
Well, not only that, it's just not what I'm used to seeing when I'm looking at plugins. It looks more like you're looking at a computer instead of looking at plugins.
Right. So that's what I'm considering.
That's a great idea.
Because Performer is so cheap, and it'll do the VST. And I did run it both via USB into a DM3, and I also ran it through the Scarlett analog insert with the DM3 as well. So I did run it both ways. So once you get the processing part of it squared away, interfacing it should be pretty simple. And I haven't really even considered all the different ways that I might deploy it or not deploy it based on the fact that I'm not giving up my Waves shit either.
So I think the key is Waves Livebox. But let me ask you this, Wayne. You know how you get two licenses with Waves? Is Performer, what's it called? Super Rack Performer, one of the ones that you get to, or is that one of the ones you don't get to?
What I do is I have a control computer that has Super Rack Sound Grid. When I'm using QLs and CLs with my Waves card. And then it also has the second license with all the second things, as long as you keep your update plan current.
Of course, yeah.
The same machine has my Super Rack Performer, so that it's the same machine whether I'm interfacing with
if you're using
server
native,
or whether I'm going
or
USB.
server. Yeah, right.
Yes, exactly.
So, but my question is Super Rack Performer, can I use maybe I could use my second license of Performer on the Windows machine? You know what I mean?
Don't see why you couldn't if you haven't.
Is that one of the apps is that one of the plugins or one of the things that you get two licenses of?
Yes.
It is?
Yeah, I believe so.
Hey.
You can investigate with Waves, but I'm not sure what their current thing is. But as far as I understand, if you have Super Rack Sound Grid and you're up to date with Waves update plan, you can have the second license, which I use for Performer. And it activates all the plugins as native as well. Right. So I got all that shit stacked up on one machine.
So here's the thing. Let me ask you this. Do you think there's any disadvantage of using a different VST host than what they mounted on this computer? Because for now, I'm going to leave it this VST host because that's what works. But
just a matter of overhead.
I don't know.
I think it would be worthy to the test to see if the a difference between the two VST hosts on that box configured, because I'm sure they've stripped down that simple VST host to have no effect on the machine as well.
Right.
So,
And by the way, it's when I start up the machine, that automatically mounts. So
right.
I would have to figure out how to have it not mount and have it mount super rack instead.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you get a power glitch or something like that.
Well, I don't mind mounting it and all that stuff. I figured in order of progressing through dealing with it, the first thing is to get the computer and the horsepower squared away.
Sure.
Right. And then move on to that.
Yeah. I'm just saying that, like this current host, this VST, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
This piece of
it's
POS.
a stripped down. Yeah. I don't want, basically it's done by the software developer just to say, I don't want this thing to be anywhere near my software as far as the performance is on this box.
Right.
Don't take. One thing I should note, I saw a post, I think it was a response that Sully had when he was running, he said with Fee, he was running 2 instances. And then he also had a GUI heavy Waves plugin after that. And he said the GUI heavy plugin was struggling, but D feedback was fine. Okay. But he said it was pushing his live box.
So that pushes the live box to its limits, kind of. So if I wonder if I would be, here's my hope is that I can replace my current Waves server with the live box, just add defeedback to my setup, and I'm done.
Right.
But I have a feeling, based on what you just said, that is not going to work.
Yeah, I'll go find it and I'll text it to you.
That'd be awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Well, it's amazing how exciting this is getting.
Tell me, Greg, what I missed that last little thing.
Sully made a post. He's been using it with the Chili Peppers, and he said, he's got the live super server, whatever you call it, the live box, and there was one post he was answering somebody else to where he said he had multiple instances of defeedback running, then other Wave plugins on top of it. And he said that the Wave plugins that were heavy GUI related, the actual GUI was struggling with all that processing.
I wonder if that's the only drawback. Like the GUI itself is struggling. The audio is fine, but you know what I mean.
He moved it off the he moved that one off of his Wave box and onto one of his. The guy travels with 4 M4s.
Yeah.
So
I saw the one where he had stacked 2 in series.
Oh yeah, that was cool. Yeah. That was real interesting.
Yeah, it was.
And what was his goal with that? He was trying to get rid of the background noise, right? The other on-stage noise.
I thought he was just doing that as an example of what, but he said he wouldn't use it that way.
He was just doing testing. He was out with Smashing Pumpkins, not the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, Smashing Pumpkins. Sorry.
So let me ask you. I thought Robert said that it's not really going to get rid of background noise. It's going to get rid of ambience.
Yeah.
So background noise.
It's going to lower your noise floor, but if you want it, Robert said, if you wanted to get rid of your cymbals or your snare and your vocal mic, you got to look somewhere else.
That's okay. Yeah, that's what I thought I heard.
But for me on Sunday, what was interesting, playing outside of the stadium, and you have the whole stadium system going on. They weren't playing music. It was all people talk. It was all an announcer talking back and forth and doing stuff. When we engaged it, that brought that into the singer's mic, who was outside of the stadium. That brought that noise level down significantly. We couldn't measure it at the time.
So in other words, it all the echoes and all that stuff, it kind of eradicated.
Yeah, it treated it as room echo. All that background,
Right. Interesting. Well,
We
I
got
was
a
just-
special on sausages on the third floor, whatever.
I was just texting with Brian Stanley, who's just used it with Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, and he said he actually got to put some snare and some overhead back in the mix because Scotty's mic picked up so much of it. Right? It was just you know how it is,
Yeah.
right?
You mean
And
without the D feedback, it picked up a lot of it.
correct. And he put
Yeah.
D feedback on, and now he's adding. It's changing his mix. He's adding some real fidelity back in.
Yeah. I guess every band's different. It's
Right.
going to be real interesting to hear what you have to say, next week or next week.
I think for my purposes, so we switched to this Telefunken M80 a few months ago, and that has been the biggest change in picking up, other stuff besides the vocal.
Hypercardioid.
Yeah, it's hypercardioid, so it picks up hardly anything else besides his voice, But then, so this will be another big change, and we'll see what happens.
Can
Well,
you
it was
demonstrate?
amazing when you turned it on in the room, Ken. I mean, the sound of the room just went.
Yeah,
it was
right.
like almost in a chamber rather than in a big room like that. It was amazing.
Can you demonstrate your artist's mic technique for us?
What's that? You mean like singing like this?
Yeah. Where does he place that
Every once in a
mic?
while, he gets it up here, but it's never here.
Okay.
It's never there. It's there, and
Oh, okay.
there's this is kind of common. This is sometimes, and this is about as close as it gets. And by the way, but the big factor is he sings about this loud. He's very quiet. I mean, we like in the current show, there's some kid musicians, and he interviews the kids, and the kids are so loud when he puts the mic anywhere near them because his mic just has so much gain on it,
Gotcha.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
don't hand his microphone to Steve Ballmer. That's all I have to say.
Oh no,
Yeah.
it would overload, I'm sure.
Blow out the capsule.
I remember those days at Microsoft.
Well, I always used to refer to Steve Ballmer as the John Madden of tech.
Yeah.
And if you were doing a big Microsoft show, you could have your gain at, let's say, 2:00, right?
Right.
For everybody. With Ballmer, you could take it down to noon, 11 a.m., and he'd still be loud. That guy was so fucking loud.
Which is not a problem. We love that because more gain. It's great, nice and clean.
No,
I almost thought that
I loved it when
everybody
he spoke.
I almost thought that everybody at Microsoft who spoke to the public was trained to speak that way, because I got the impression every time I did a Microsoft event, they were very projecting. They were not counting on the sound system to carry them like some people.
A lot of them. I mean, Gates was not particularly loud, but
I did the launch of the Zune at the Redmond campus here, headquarters, and they had a big water wall behind Ballmer talking. And when he was all done hyping everybody up and yelling in the microphone, he turned around and did a mic drop, and he dropped the wireless right into the catch basin for the waterfall.
He's your friend, huh?
Guess you didn't use that one again, huh? Guess he bought that one.
I wasn't mine at the time. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, a bag of rice I don't think would have worked on that one.
No,
Are you doing okay with the storage?
it wasn't a
Kurt?
wired mic. It's pretty brutal. I got to go home and unplug Frosty and Santa so they don't blow away. And I keep tripping GFCIs at my house because of all the lights.
So you've got some weather going on up in your neck of the woods, hey?
Yeah, there's flooding just south of.
Yeah, big time.
There's flooding big time south of you, I guess. It was on the news.
All around me. There's flooding everywhere. I'm on a hill, so I'm fine. But I drove across the river leaving the shop, and they had an excavator out there parked on the bridge, which was closed.
Well, yeah, you ain't getting around that front.
Yeah, out from below the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking about a bag of rice, just
Do a push into the Museum of Flight here.
something I've been doing for years now is every time I get one of those little silica bags, I throw it in a box. And so I've got enough of them now that if I ever need to have a bag of rice, I throw it in the microwave, dry it out, and it'll really suck the moisture out of anything I put next to it.
You could use them for little tiny sandbags in case you get flooding near your house.
100 of
The
them.
mice in my house use those as sandbags.
Hey, you got to
That's
save
funny.
the anthills first. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So it works, Ken? Is that what I'm tuning in late to?
It works great, Kurt. Okay, so this is with, and I'm gonna leave the mic set at the same level. I can make it feedback if I get right in front of the speaker, but if I can find the button to bypass it, here goes. There, it really takes off when I bypass it, is the point. So this, if I push this up even higher, is that even bypassed? Yeah. So now it's bypassed, right? So it's very ringy and stuff and out of control. John Mayer would call it chaos, but then as soon as I click the button, it's not chaotic any longer.
Right. It's amazing.
Right.
Yeah, I can't
Now,
wait
are
to
you
hear.
gonna route
Kenny-
it through your console, which you haven't done yet? Is that correct?
Oh, it's all patched the way it will be. It's just that it's hiding over there because it doesn't need to be controlled at all. You know?
Have you used it in the show live yet?
No, because the show's not till tomorrow, and I don't even have the PA. PA is not even on. This is
When
just
did that
a
happen?
meeting. Sorry?
When are you going to do that?
Tomorrow afternoon, we'll have a sound check, and then we'll do a show, and tomorrow night, and I'll report back to you how amazing how I was able to lead that fader up all the way at the top, the whole show, without any ringing or feedback. That'll be amazing. Because he goes right over in front of the PA at one. Well, he doesn't do it in this show, come to think of it. This is the Christmas show, but he goes over right in front of the PA in the normal show, and it's like, it's right on the verge of taking off, even with the 5045. So with this, it will not be. I'm pretty confident.
What are we listening to amplified? What system are you running through so that we're hearing the amplification?
My Martin
CDD8s.
Oh, okay.
They're delays, so that's why you're hearing two of me.
Are you going to let him know what you're doing?
Nope.
He pays him enough. He doesn't. He pays him enough. He doesn't have to know what he's doing. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
I wonder if he'll notice a difference on the stage.
I don't think so because his hearing is pretty depreciated.
And also, too, you're not changing the monitors, are you?
To his in-ears, because that's the only thing that can crank up the 2K that much.
Wow.
I'm jealous that you have Martin CDDH as your near fields.
Yeah.
Right. There you go. Now, no delay on the near fields now. So it's a little tighter sounding, right?
But,
yeah.
Does the koala bear
you still have the feedback, the D feedback engaged, and I can push it up way higher than I should be able to. Because see how, I don't know if you can hear the ringing, but it's just barely ringing now. But if I take the D feedback off, it would be full on feeding back. You see? So that's the difference as I hear it.
So
We can't hear the ringing.
Does it
You don't
seem
hear
like
the ringing?
6 dB extra headroom? Is that kind of where you're at?
I'm sorry? Yeah, about
Seems like
it feels
this?
like about 6 dB.
That's pretty impressive.
A noticeable amount. More than like 3 dB is supposedly the smallest amount we can notice. It's way more than that.
I love it. Everybody in the room is amazed and focused in on the sound that you're getting and all of that. But Wayne noticed the koala bear. That's it.
I just wanted to know if the koala bear had any thoughts as well.
Tell them this. Okay, this is without. So this is without it. It wants. Wait, is it? Yeah, there. It definitely wants to take off like crazy now. But with it in, it's very, very controlled.
Yeah, the koala bear is a gift from the your country women. In other words, some fans from Australia came here and they gave that to me as a gift. But hey,
and I was there that night.
You're right, and Jan was right there. He witnessed the gifting. But
Wow,
the big story from Australia is 16. You have to be 16 years old to use social media.
Did you read
Yes.
that? Yeah.
That's major. Is that really happening, Wayne? Or
Yes.
is it about to happen?
No, it happened yesterday.
It went into effect, huh?
You
Yeah,
know
went
what
into
that
effect.
means? Everybody's got to sign up for that digital ID kind of crap so that they can prove kids are the right age or whatever. How they
Correct.
gonna, you know,
Great.
Yeah, how are they going to
Do it in the
control that?
United
I mean,
States.
right? How are they going to
Hey,
control
we got
that?
a newbie in the room.
I think it'll be hard work in the long run, but they're going to have a go.
I think
Well,
I don't know
it's
about
going to be a matter of convenience. Like, for example, Apple just introduced on their iPhone that you can have your passport and it will be accepted now by TSA. And it's just a matter of convenience. I put it on my phone. You can't see the pictures or anything else. It's an NFR reader, but it works. I mean, it just, it seems you're protected.
The kids are going to have social media parties in the woods like we used to have kegers.
It's just like that. It's just that's what I liken it to. Is they're gonna find ways to do the illegal thing, whether we like it or not. But it's not going to be every kid in school has their phone out all the time, which is what's happening in America, and it sucks if you ask me.
Amen, Ken. Amen.
It'll be like the smoking section of the kids.
No, the VPNs. I tell you what. Yeah, VPNs sales are going to go up in
right
in Australia.
Oh, so a question that you guys probably know and I don't because I'm not a computer geek. But can you get a VPN on your phone?
Yeah. Yes.
Can you?
Of course. Yes.
Nord, Surfshark. Yeah, there's a ton of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
if you're considering it, Bruce, I've experimented with so many of them.
I've never
because
had
of
a reason to do it, so
Well, the main reason to do it is for your protection, because once you're on a VPN, if you're out in public and you're using a public Wi-Fi system, then you're protecting your data. But
like
if you're
all the
not,
time when we're in hotels, in the hotel system and all that stuff,
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that makes
sense.
sense.
The worst one is airports, because there's the traffic in the airports and the amount of people and the amount of thieves monitoring what the data that's going on in the airport.
So let me ask you this:
you don't want to check your bank balance at the airport lounge.
if I wanted one on my Mac and I wanted one on my iPhone, is that 2 accounts or could I?
No, one account.
License
and what's your recommended VPN, Jan?
Surfshark.
Surfshark.
By far.
And
Surfshark
they have deals on it, Bruce, where you pay like very little, like $1 a month or something.
Really?
I'll make sure that I send you my subscription link so that you could if you get
10% off and you get $20 and I get 10% off.
Yeah, that's
no,
good.
we did free month.
That's cool.
Actually, Jan, email that to me because I'm going to need it in April when I go to India. So,
and I'll tell you one more thing about Surfshark. Their customer support is unbelievable. I've been dealing with them right now. I have what they call a dedicated IP address so that nobody else has it, and I'm unique. And I had a little challenge, and I wrote them an email, and I'm telling you, they got like 5 or 6 people involved in it immediately, and they figured out the solution. I was very impressed by them.
How does it actually work? So you pay you pay in your account, right? It's $10 a month or whatever it is.
You turn the VPN on when you want to.
So it's a program that goes on your laptop or on your phone.
Right.
That's right. It's an app.
And it encrypts your data on either side. You talk to one of their servers, then their server goes out to Google or wherever you want to go. Or to your favorite porn site.
It's an in-between.
Oh, I see.
That's in between your computer and the stuff.
And the rest of the world.
Right.
Yeah, so basically they create an isolated tunnel that your data goes through that nobody has access to other than you.
And you can I don't know what you call it, but like falsify your location with that.
Right.
Because IP addresses are tied to certain locations.
No. You've got it all. You all have it wrong. It creates a polarity inverted IR of your data.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah. That's called relocation.
Wow. So once it's
de-identify.
Once it's set up and you go online with your phone, it's going to them, and then from them it's going to wherever.
It's invisible. It's invisible once you set it up because you just say I want to be protected by the VPN, and now you're just on the VPN instead of on direct. You're just indirect. That's all.
I was on the road, and this doctor would not talk to me because he could see where I was calling in from. So I quickly got a VPN on my next appointment when I was on the road and made sure it was coming from the state where I live in Nevada. So that way the doctor would talk to me. Yeah.
Why,
So
where
is
you were away from home and he wanted
Yeah.
you to be home, basically?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the doctors, the all the stuff during COVID got closed up,
Oh,
and now
right.
doctors can only practice in their licensed state anymore.
right?
So
Yeah.
I was on the road and I needed to see a doctor, and he scheduled, oh, telehealth, great, right? And so I'm on, and he goes, yeah, I can see here through our software you're calling from Florida. I can't talk to you. Click.
How interesting. But you were able to bypass that with the VPN
Yes.
Yeah.
because you could maybe
Yes.
make it think that you were
So
calling out.
Yes.
when you call, is there a default? Does it always think you're? Does it
No,
always
you get to
position
pick. You get to pick. Well, in
every
the software,
time?
obviously, I picked, what the fastest VPN was. So I would
Mhm.
look at a list of options and then pick from that
So
Yeah.
before you actually,
before you actually surf.
oh, isn't
Yeah.
that
And
interesting?
then
Wow.
once you connect, then you're surfing within that tunnel.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, and
Now,
they have various
I gotta
location
say,
points.
my speed with Surfshark with some of their servers is not as good as my direct speed.
Right.
But
Exactly.
No, of course.
but sometimes it's just fine.
Well, they have made it now. They have really improved their. They were bought by Nord, and so they are like they're like the discount house of Nord. It seems, but they provide a better service. I've used Nord. I've used I've used like 10 of them already, and Surfshark is the one. I actually have 3 of them right now, and the one that I always use is Surfshark. I don't even use the other
What's
ones.
kind of
They're just
interesting,
there in case of an
there
emergency.
is a venture capitalist firm that not only owns both of those, they own Norton, they own LifeLock, they own
Really?
yeah, they're just one holding company above all that, and then they own all these similar software based companies. So
And soon they're going to be buying D-Feedback, I'm sure.
yeah,
That's it.
right.
Somebody will. Somebody will.
Either Harmon or, somebody will.
uh, that'd be a tragedy if Harmon would buy them.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
and which brings me to a point where I've got to say this right now.
Everything
Welcome to
is
Thinking Out Loud with Friends. Just remember, everything you hear today is an opinion. Do your own research.
Yeah,
Somebody with a
There you
vested
go.
interest in
even the
feedback will
guys
buy
that
it.
own
Crush it.
the smaller Soundcraft boards are all kind of sitting in limbo without a clear understanding if Harman is going to, continue to evolve and develop these products, provide support, new updates. I mean,
Wow.
they're not doing the best job of communicating to their client base, what their intentions are.
No,
Wow.
Tom, Tom, who's a guest in the room, has been in with us. He was with Soundcraft from day one, I believe, and they hadn't had a new product in years, and he really reluctantly moved over to Allen and Heath, and boy, is he happy now,
Wow.
I think that
And by the way, he's
Alan
agreed to come to the room to talk about Allen and Heath. So he's going to demonstrate a product sooner or later, probably next year. I don't think we'll do anything this year.
The people, I have to say, the people I've talked to about the D Live, because I was an analog, I love the Allen Heath analog consoles. We had 4GL4000s, and I loved them. They sounded great, and they worked very well for a
Kurt
while.
has one.
But
I've
you
got
know
a
what?
couple of them.
I gotta say that the D Live, I have not talked to anybody that didn't like it.
We were messing with one today because we were just kind of playing with some new firmware updates, and we realized, and maybe everybody knows this, but you can network your Shure wireless or Sennheiser wireless into the D Live, and then port it so that you can actually control the receiver from the console screen itself. You can change the frequencies, you can adjust the gain.
Everything, huh?
From the console.
Wow.
Over the network.
So Yamaha, you can see everything, but you can't really control it. You just see
you
it.
can change it. We did it today in the shop. We changed the gain settings on the receiver itself.
There's a setting on
Kurt,
boards that actually allows you to control the Shure mics.
But the Allen and Heath does not do a Dan Dugan. It may have an auto mixer of some sort, but not a Dan Dugan registered.
The SQ5, the little one, has a fake Dugan, and it works okay. That's what's in the theater.
I'm a big fan of exactly Dan Dugan.
Right, me too. I haven't heard anybody's that's been as good as Dan's yet.
Exactly.
And
We're
I've
not going
had
to need it anymore.
I've been
Remember?
stuck on the Behringer too.
No, I tell you
on the
those.
X32.
Yes, I got the MMAs coming up in January, and last year I was on the SL6 or the S whatever the big
S6L, yeah.
S6L, and the 3 years before that we were at the Sahara, and they have an M32 for monitors and an M32 for the house, and oh my God, I hate that console. And I can use it, but I don't like it at all. And they have their Dugan copy on the first 8 channels.
I'm
And
sorry.
I've used the X32 a couple of times too, and I can't when anybody talks about it, I just say it's
I'd rather use a
expensive
TF.
doorstop.
I'd rather use a TF than an X32 or an M32.
Well, yeah, I put
I
a TF in a high school auditorium, and I actually kind of liked it.
TF actually has Dugan on the first so many channels, right?
It does, yes.
If
It's
you
a piece of
knew
shit,
what,
but I'll tell you what, I'd rather use that than the.
The
if you knew
X32
what
is just a
TF
doorstop as
stands
far as I'm
for.
concerned.
And by the way, this is just my opinion. Just my opinion, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you guys are using the Firewire, eh? There you go.
So, not to get off subject, but Christopher, can you give us an update on what's going on in the Palisades?
Yeah, well, just quickly though, but
just quickly.
The initials TF. I have friends that have referred to that board not very nicely
fuckery.
using TF. But
it's kind of a toy. It's kind of a toy, but it works pretty
But it
well.
has Dugan and it's Yamaha, so
no, it's just that the workflow is so dissimilar to the other Yamaha product offerings. But just to jump in on that, Allen and Heath, that SQ5, SQ7, these are very small boards.
Yes.
But with the 2416 stage box, I mean, I went to a show and a super simple, very small room. So let's get real here. A single artist singing and playing guitar, but man, did it sound good! Wow.
I've always liked the way the Allen and Heath stuff has sounded. Wayne.
And the other thing that I understand about the Allen and Heath boards is they're very intuitive. I've heard that from so many people, and that's why they took off in the church market.
You bet. That's right. They're huge in house of worship.
It didn't take me long to figure out the SQ5. I had to retool it completely in a theater, and I was hating every minute of it, but I did it.
Very intuitive.
CQ20 board, which is like my home mixer, that thing is even cool. I mean, and it uses more or less the same workflow that can be found in the SQ5 and 7. And for small venues, those boards are just kick-ass. They're fantastic.
So the last weekend at Hotel California, very odd situation. I had an Advantis one night, and I had the D-Live the second night.
I've heard great things about the Advantis.
The Advantis. The only thing that you have to remember on Allen and Heath is you have to hit the apply button. If you hit that apply button, everything you just did is wasted.
Wasted, yeah.
Other than that,
Are you sure?
I loved it. I loved the way it sounded. I loved the way it worked.
So how did you like the Advantis?
What was that?
Did you like the Advantis?
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
It sure looks great, man. It's a great looking console.
Yeah.
Aren't Digicos the same way though, David? But when you make a change, when you make a big change on, let's say you're on an SD, whatever, SD, name your name, or a quantum box, when you make a change, you got to hit apply.
Interesting.
Yep.
And they're the same company.
Man, you got to give David Dansky so much credit. Balls of steel when he goes out there. So he's working with Hotel California. They go into a different theater. And basically, almost every night, he's got a different console that he's got to deal with.
You know what? I'd end up killing people.
Impressive.
I'd be killing people.
Impressive. But then again, he's only 35 years old, and look at the gray hair he's got. Unbelievable.
He's got a bag of USB sticks that's about 2 inches in diameter. It's an old mic bag for him. That's what
so funny.
Me.
Yeah, I spent some time on Avantis for a while, and I like it. It does some cool stuff. It's one of the things I've always been interested in, that Yamaha has never done a a mobile architecture the way that Digico or Avantis in this case is doing. I haven't run the D Live, so I can't speak to D Live, but where you can go in and take the available horsepower and say, I want this many groups and this many.
Oh yeah,
auxes
reshuffle it around. Yeah,
right,
that's
which
pretty cool.
Yamaha's never done, for better or worse, whatever. For what it costs, because don't those things only cost about $8,000 or $9,000 or something like that?
Yeah.
For what it costs,
very reasonably priced.
It's pretty incredible. That being said, the company sold it and bought a DM7. So what does that tell you?
Hey, you know what I just found out about this show is that it's not for the faint of heart. You know, I mean, hey, yeah, you know, with like some shows, you got to raise your hand. This it's a free for all. Get in there, get in there, get in there. So I haven't heard from Michael. I know you wanted to say something, and Ken, I haven't heard one word from you. So hey, why don't we give them just a little space before and then we'll go back to Chris because it's a perfect perfect transition.
We need a Palisades update.
But first, let's hear from Michael. Michael, you were saying something.
No, I was just joining in the conversation. It's a rare
Oh,
moment.
good. Well, that's it then. That's enough. Next, please.
So, Michael, what console do you live on? What's your console of choice?
I haven't mixed in like 15 years. So I'm more speaker centric because of my job, and Meyer used to let us do some freelancing all the way up till about 2017, and so I would always double dip a little bit here and there.
So what do you do now?
So I'm director of strategic applications, U.S. sales. I work with Kurt and all kinds of different projects around the world, and I'm working on some pretty cool stuff for Meyer, falling a little bit more back into my old role, and I'm really enjoying it, working more with product management and development, and hearing some of feedback from Kurt, and not happy with
it was D-feedback.
But no, it's things are cooking at Meyer. It's been busy. We always got stuff cooking, and
no, Mom.
So it's a lot of stuff that we do behind the scenes that people don't even realize. So
he's into the military stuff too, isn't he?
He was for a while.
Yeah, he was for a while. He had this thing that used to knock people over.
They wanted us to, but he would never do it.
Really?
Yeah, I remember being at the factory when folks would visit and ask us, and John said no. And we would do stuff that would we did the beam.
Right.
They used that to warn people, so they would not only use it for the application, but it would be used to like shoot sound from ship to ship and communication analog, get around digital spying. So things like that. So
I had a conversation with John once, and he was telling me that he was working on a noise cancellation for gunfire for the military. He couldn't tell me much about it, but that was like 20 years ago or something like that. But he's a brilliant man. John Myers is brilliant.
I knew him a little bit when he worked at McCune because I used to mix on the SMs and the JMs. And then once he left McCune and started Myers, it was always the JM and the little black box that made it all work that nobody knew what the hell was really in there,
Well, one thing I just learned about you, Bruce, is that you're a lot older than you look.
A lot of people actually say that, yes.
I was just going to say that it's interesting that sound companies working with the military is not particularly new. I mean, I don't know how many people have seen the stacks of 4889s that Maryland had blasting into satellites.
Well, Greg knows about that testing thing, right?
And then even way back in the day, I think it was called Pac West Audio or something like that. It was in San Diego, and he was doing stuff for the military, and that was back in the 70s.
Yeah, well, he was also doing for NASA. He was creating a sound chamber to try to recreate the sound of the blast off to see whether or not the ships would hold together.
Yeah, it's in Alabama, actually. There is that's where in Huntsville, around Huntsville and the areas around there is where the actual a lot of testing happens.
You just don't want to be there on the
book.
day they're testing the diapers.
No, that's only launch day.
The only thing I remember is in San Diego when I used to go down there to do shows. I had two 4-pack racks of Vega Diversity mics when wireless mics first became a cool thing. And every day at like 4 o'clock, we had to shut everything off for like 15 minutes because they were doing some blasto thing over on the island, and it would just interfere with everything. It's like, stop the show, Luckily, everything I did there, we did in the evenings, and we were done by either starting after 4 or done by 4. But it was always a crapshoot whether we were going to get interfered with or not,
Yeah, it's a real interesting thing. Crown, actually, that's how the first Crown Macrotechs first came around, right after the DC 300A, and the biggest contractor was NASA for those amplifiers. Sound companies couldn't get a hold of those amps, so we all switched to BGW, and we just said, "The hell with you guys." And so everybody switched to BGW, and that really hurt Crown. But I guess they made a ton of money from that contract. And then finally, BGW as a company started to falter, and all of a sudden people are like going, "Hey, what about this Macrotech thing, from Crown? We'll try it," and it weighed a gazillion tons.
Yeah, I had BGW 750s.
Yeah.
Those are workhorses, man.
Oh
my God.
BGW 750s.
The Navy.
Hey, if we're going down memory lane, Greg, didn't Crest have that marketplace right after BGW? And then they had a problem with their 8002s when they started to start on fire, and then everybody switched over to the Crown. Is that correct? Is that my memory serve me correct?
They were both in that area, because at that time there was a big search for more power for less bucks.
You know who would know something about this right now? Ken Porter would know something about this, because I think that's when he was in his heyday over there, right? Well, you're still in your heyday.
He's in his heyday now, man. Come on.
Do you guys remember Phase Linear?
Oh, yeah. But
Phase Linear.
I had Phase Linear 700s before I had my BGWs.
Flame Linear, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they were blowing up. I fried more drivers with those things, and once I changed over to BGW 750s, I never blew another driver ever again. And I used to stand on those things.
Sound as good, but yeah.
That's it. And we're not talking about Uber or Lyft right now, right, Bruce?
Yeah, but the on the Phase Linears, they would never survive a tour in Iraq, except for the ones that
Claire modified.
Yeah.
Well, those were Carver's, though, weren't they? Wasn't that Bob Carver's later design? Because Bob Carver was Phase Linear, wasn't he?
Right.
Because I remember the cube amps that they used to sell. They were 200 watts a channel, and they were cubes. I worked in part-time in a really high-end audio store, and we were Carver dealers for the 9,000 preamps and stuff like that. And I had put 2 cubes in a rack and was using them to drive my monitor system for a while just to see if they worked. And they worked okay, but when you stood on them for a long time, they started getting tired. But
I mean, those amps were, they were repurposed hi-fi amps.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. A friend of Bruce and I had a friend, Billy Jenkins, who since has passed on, but back when I met him in like 1978, he had this PA system. He had a bunch of Phase Linears, and the way his racks were built, every single phase sat on its own shelf.
Yeah.
To try to
isolate it.
To try to cut down on the shaking.
Chassis with a big ass power transformer in the center, and offset, and eventually, with all the bouncing around in a truck and everything like that, that aluminum will go, well, yeah, I'm going to shift a little like this way, and circuit boards don't like to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
Yeah, we were a club circuit band, so we were rolling up and down the ramps and every night of the week on the East Coast, and oh boy, they didn't like that shit at all. We ran around in 2 24-foot rental trucks,
The Navy used to use Macintosh 2500s to drive their sonar systems.
Yep.
Oh, those are sweet.
At least on the 5700.
2500s or 3500s?
2500s.
I knew the
I've never heard of a
2500s.
2500, to be honest.
Oh, no,
Is that
you're right. 3500, yes.
the big ones, the Grateful Dead ones.
Yeah,
Right. And then
yeah.
Watkins Glen, they needed more power amplifiers. They flew in a helicopter to the
That's
factory
right.
and intercepted a shipment that was supposed to go for the Navy. It didn't have any serial numbers yet. And the Macintosh guys, you gave them the amps.
Ah,
I think Macintosh is right in Vermont or something, aren't they?
Binghamton, New York, isn't it?
Binghamton? Yeah,
Binghamton,
Binghamton.
New York, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Oh
love the
man,
Macintosh
those
home stuff.
3500s are amazing. I worked for a band and we had the Sansui, sort of equivalent to that, a transformer coupled giant power amp, and we used it for bass guitar, and it sounded amazing.
So I remember going backstage at the Wall of Sound because I was
wow.
friends with the Bill Healy. Healy, is that his name?
Yeah.
Dan Healy.
Haley.
Yeah.
Dan Healy.
And yeah, Dan. And so I got to look at those racks of the Macintosh amplifiers. And they used to have like 3 or 4 or 5 of them in a rack. I don't know how they moved them, but they were just
each rack had its own air conditioning system.
And the forklift was needed to transport it.
Yeah, I bet.
Every case
they were so heavy. Yeah, they were heavy.
Not one case had a number. Every case had a name. Bring Marie over here, Tank Fred over there. I mean, it was just dead stuff.
I heard they got confused with the people on the crew because everybody's name was either Tiny or Bubba, you know?
Only in the South.
Oh my God.
Go ahead, Michael. What you want to say?
All right.
Your hand up.
I'm sorry.
I got a question for the group and some of the folks here, and I don't know who, maybe Ken or whoever, Kurt. How did we in live sound evolve to where the PA curve has that enormous hump and the slope at the high end? Where did that start? Who made that become the acceptable PA curve?
I don't know because I've never EQ'd that way. So I add it as I need it, but I don't.
People trying to force boxes that weren't capable of that kind of clarity into having presence up there.
But
maybe so.
But if you don't tune it that way, and a young engineer, especially a younger engineer, they walk in, they're lost without that.
It's called add more kick drum and bass guitar and keyboards. Like, why would you EQ? Because all your microphones are going through all that low end too.
I mean, it's just really just interesting to see how that is. Like, that's expected. It doesn't matter the brand of the PA.
Right.
I personally would rather have the PA be flat. I think flat PAs sound really dead. But if the whole system is flat and all sounds the same, I can make it the way I want it.
Right. Yeah, but it's the same. It's Michael. My personal opinion is that it's the same sort of mentality that also wants the kick drum to be the loudest thing in the mix.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed that, but a lot of concert sound these days, it's the lead kick drum. They lead with the kick drum.
You know what I started to do for a little while?
It's just a thing.
And you know what, Kenny, you do so much entertainment, and maybe David too, so you might be able to relate to this. But when I first started smarting systems all the time, when I was working a lot, at one point I thought there's got to be a faster way to do this. So I set up my microphone in front of the main array, and I'd play some tracks, and I'd EQ the system the way that, Wayne and I had always done it, to ear, right? Then when I got it to sound the way I wanted it to, I'd play pink noise and I'd grab that trace. I'd grab that trace and then adapt the rest of the system to that trace, right? But what I started to find out that, okay, so that's how I liked it to sound, but that's not how I wanted the PA necessarily to react.
Yeah.
Well,
so that's why I went back to erroring on a flat PA, because then I could add in what I wanted and put the mix the way I wanted it to, instead of trying to EQ it to sound the way I wanted it to come, on the setup time.
It's just an interesting thing that, in terms of, I think I have a theory. There's a lot of folks that demand this now because we're now in the digital age.
MP3.
And no, your show file.
MP3s.
Your show file. your
Yeah.
show file is based around that.
Mhm.
And when you're
Maybe.
going from gig to gig, and you're
But-
used to that low end boost and that HF attenuation at I think it attenuates around 4K, you start taking a dip.
But
I think these young engineers don't know how to mix, and it's just, and I'm,
but the
you
thing,
know, I
Joe,
don't know.
too, is what the way the music is being produced as well. That has a lot to do with it, because if you're front of house, you're that a lot of artists manager says we want it to sound exactly like the record.
Well, it is also an artifact
Okay,
of the
and-
mastering and the medium. When
Yeah,
vinyl, you can only get so much low end, so you had to be conservative about how much low end you tried to put on the vinyl. But you don't have those limitations anymore, so you can get away with anything.
Right.
Exactly.
I
So
have
the
a
needle would
theory.
jump
I have
out
a
of the groove.
theory. I have a theory. It comes from Christopher Walken. 2 words: more cowbell. That's it. More cowbell.
So who, I don't know who just said that about wanting to sound like the record.
I did.
Everybody.
Yeah, so I think you're right, but I happen to disagree with that as a philosophy. I
Yeah,
think a
same with
live
me.
show. Yeah. I think you're right that that's what they're shooting for. They're trying to make it sound like the record, but to me, it should sound like the record on steroids, because this is a live friggin' show, man. Let's let it pop. Let's let it jump out the PA. Let's let those fucking speakers hit you in the gut. This is not supposed to be all compressed like a record.
What? I had guys. I was doing outdoor stadium shows, and my favorite thing to do, a young guy would come up to me and say, "What's a good kick drum sound?" And I just said, "Okay, you see that half bottle of water over there on the rack?" And then I'd unmute the kick, and that half bottle of water would start moving across the rack. And I said, "That's a good fucking kick sound."
That's
And the
interesting.
guy would be just dumbfounded.
It depends on the music. It depends on the style of music.
Of course, but for a rock show. So I always say the Prince kick drum sound. That's what you want,
Yeah.
But Greg is absolutely right, because there is, less and less dynamic range in today's music. We have all of this density, and I wanted to show Michael my beautiful.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, I got
his
the
little
900s.
baby. His little baby.
The 900s are in the other room. They survived the Palisades fire, so that was amazing.
And by the way, you could thank Michael for having those, by the way, because if it wasn't for him, you would never have had them.
There we are. So, and I've been a Myers guy ever since the the 500, and then I had the MTS 4As.
Oh,
So,
wow.
How many times you
going
been to the
back for a
factory,
while.
Chris?
But sorry?
Have you been to the
How many
factory,
times you been to
Chris?
the factory?
Oh,
Bunch.
God, I've had like 4 factory tours. They all recognize me now. So
That's awesome.
especially the German guy that makes the magnets.
Yes.
It's that propeller sticking out of your head.
That has a lot to do with it. And
He
yeah,
loves showing that, and he remembers everybody. He is just such an awesome.
Well,
I offered him to
told-
stay at my house in Vegas. I was like, come to Vegas, spend a weekend, stay here. Oh, he's a sweetheart. Oh.
Yeah, no, everybody's super nice over there. So,
Yeah.
but
I would
yeah,
like to
the
go
one thing
back
that I
and-
loved about Meyer ever since that, way back then, they still had, the best, flattest response you could get. But it was the thing that I loved about Myers is they didn't color the sound.
No.
Whatever you put in is what you got out, rather than selecting a cabinet that, oh, well, I like the way that sounds. No, I mean, this thing just faithfully reproduced whatever the signal was.
Yeah. No, it's an amazing place to work, and I never thought it would be a 22-year career, 23-year career.
Oh, wow, you've been there that long. Holy smokes.
Yeah. I started off
Just don't tell Meyer that. That's all
No, they tried to hire me multiple times. I toured prior in my young years, and then I went to work for Walt Disney Entertainment, and I worked at Main Gate. So I was doing system design work for 8 years, and Meyer offered me a job multiple times, and the wife wanted to change, and I took them up on it finally, and 22 plus years later, and it's an amazing organization, and amazing people, and they care about the end product. They don't run in clubs or circles, and that's kind of, you got all these little cliques within our industry. But it's not because they don't want to. They're all friendly people. It's just they really are about doing sound right and holding on to right or wrong, making a choice and sticking with it. And everything is magical in what they do. And I did a factory tour the other day, and somebody who'd been to all these other factories, and he said, "You know what? This is like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory." And he's like, I've been to all the other manufacturers, and he was just, he was just over the moon. And he used to work for another manufacturer, and he was just like, "You guys are actually making cones. You're
Yeah, that's
actually
the first stop. The first stop is the cones. Yeah, and they dip them. You get to see the black liquid, and they just
Yeah.
drop in, and wow, it's
Yeah.
incredibly cool.
Well, the one thing that stands out in my mind about Meyer, more than anything else, I mean, you're going to give it that it's high quality. It's very high quality, but the loyalty that Helen and John showed to their people are beyond off the hook. I mean, the way they stick with their people is that there's nothing like that in the industry. There's nothing like that in real life.
Anywhere, yeah,
They're
anywhere,
amazing
yeah.
how they stick with their people.
The only other
Amazing.
company that does that is the Wickershams with Alembic.
Yeah. I agree.
Oddly enough, back in the 80s, when I bought 16 UPA 1s, which I think were the first version, and the MSL3s, I had 8 of those, and I hated those tweeters in those things. I hated
the piezo tweeter
the
arrays.
piezo tweeters. I couldn't stand them. I was like, please change these tweeters.
The story behind that was,
please tell me the story. That was so long ago.
At the time, we weren't making our own compression drivers.
Right, I do that. Yes, I had to take one apart one time.
And John wanted it to hit he wanted it to have that sparkle to it. And so the piezo tweeter array helped get the sparkle. Then when we started making our own high driver, that's where it started, compression drivers. Then that kit, there was a retrofit kit, and the rest was history.
Wasn't it Motorola who made those piezos?
Ken, you're awesome.
What? What'd you say?
Ken's awesome. He knew the model number.
Well, because we had some MSL3s and some SL3As, and it was like, whoa, these sound way different,
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Yeah. Well, that was my only bitch with Myers way back in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, I hated hanging amplifiers. I thought that was kind of
last time I saw John Meyer, he was giving us the tour of the place, and he showed us that he had this prototype of this thing he was calling the MSL4. It was one of his first ventures into powered speakers, and he said, if I can get it to be Sony reliable, then I'll produce it. And I guess he did, because he produced a lot of them.
Yeah.
But that was a really cool phrase. He said, I want to make sure it's Sony
reliable. That's great.
Here's a story. When John Meyer was still with McCune Sound, Abe Jacobs was the sound designer. He's the first person to ever get a sound designer credit on Broadway. He did Pippin, he did Evita, he did Chorus.
Oh.
Abe Jacobs. And he was living in San Francisco, and he used McCune Sound. And he called Shimon Ron, the guy who built Electric Lady, who's a friend of mine, and says, Shimon, can you build me a small console? National Lampoon is putting out a show called Lemmings, and we're going to open in the city in New York, downstairs at the Village Gate, and we need you to build a console. And Shimon and I were working together, so I built the console, and that's a whole nother story. That was revolutionary console, studio quiet. But these two JM3 speakers showed up.
JM3s.
And I had never heard hi-fi in a PA before.
Yeah, they were wonderful.
Totally blown away by these two cabinets that did the entire show. And I remember with the flashlight trying to look inside. What the hell is inside of this cabinet? And he had it flashlight proof. You couldn't see anything.
Oh,
Did,
that's
did
funny.
that did that
David, you
box
left out Abe Jacobs' his number one pinnacle to what he did. He was Jimi Hendrix engineer. That's
What?
Abe Jacobs.
Wow.
You know what else
Wow.
he? You know what else he did? He testified in a court case where a customer was suing us at a concert they came to in where's Abe live? Tucson, I think. So we did a Tucson concert probably 15 years ago or something, and Abe Jacob happened to be at the sound check and the show, and this somebody in the audience sued us because they said they got their hearing was damaged. So I said, hey, call Abe. He'll be your star witness. And sure enough, he testified, and they dropped the lawsuit.
Yeah, that was the Manilow show, right?
Right.
Yeah, Abe lives in New York. Abe lives in New York.
I don't know about that.
I think he does. Well, I don't know where he's living now. I don't even know if he's still with us. But
when he got retired, he was in Arizona at some point.
I believe he's
oh,
still
maybe
with
when he
us.
retired, yeah. But during his career, he lived in New York.
Of course, yeah.
But he was in San Francisco back then.
So the question I have is, did the JM3 have a processor, or was it just amps?
I don't know that. I don't know.
It was a little. I remember as a little processor.
I was in the McCune shop about 6 months ago, and they still have them in use.
Do they really?
Yes, they got this big plywood box. I asked, "What is it?" And then it's got an L6 twist and an XLR in, and it's all buttoned up. And I was like, "What is this?" They're like, "You don't know what this is, and you work for Myers Sound?" And I was like, "Are you still using this?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, we use them all the time."
Wow.
Did you ever see the JM10s?
No, I never.
I haven't either.
I got to mix on them at the Playboy Jazz Festival, 1982.
Wow.
I was working with Natalie Cole in '76, and we did the Cool Jazz Festival in San Diego. And this is a baseball stadium. It was Chargers Stadium or the football stadium. And they had one JM10 on each side of the stage. And that was it for the main PA. And then they had some JM3s along the bass lines.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what they had at the Hollywood Bowl in 82. David, same thing. One JM10 aside.
Unbelievable sound. As a matter of fact, it sounded so good. It sounded like, it was a hi-fi system for a stadium. And Natalie Cole's manager comes up to me and says, what did you do? We've never heard this show sound so good. And I went, well, thank you. But those speakers, and then I have pictures of them, and I have pictures of the amp rack, and every transducer in that speaker had sensors and the multi-pin cables going back to the amp rack and information going back and forth between them.
That amazed me. Yeah,
they were unbelievable.
And then the whole thing fell apart.
You know what
when
I've
David
realized?
He brought him in his car.
You know what I've realized, and I've realized this, that we have about 1,000 years of experience in this room.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then if you add Wayne Sims, we got 1,001. It's amazing how many years we've got.
Well, his clock goes backwards because he's in Southern Hemisphere,
Yeah,
that's right.
It
Yeah.
goes the other way.
All right. Well, time to go. See you guys. I'll see you later.
Take care, Kenny.
Bye.
Have a great week.
All right, Ken. Thanks for showing. We're really looking forward next week when
I
we get
can't wait to hear.
get the actual report of how it went.
Okay, Wayne in Australia. You there?
Yeah.
Okay, I got to turn my page here so I can see you. Here's the big question. Great picture. When you flush your toilet, does the water go the clockwise or counterclockwise?
It's got to be counterclockwise.
It goes the opposite way to what.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? I think that's so crazy. There's
David,
a lot of
what
people,
are we looking at?
Wow, that is
That's
amazing.
the JM10 amp rack on the left and the spare.
Oh my God, that's great.
And that's
And
the
it looks like a big
JM10.
crash at the back.
That's the JM10. So I guess I was wrong. It was the JM10 and a couple of JM3s.
Wow.
Look at that JM10.
Wow.
And the wheels didn't rattle.
You got me as John Myers, so they didn't. Whatever
they're
Yeah, I'm not so sure you could use scaffolding like that today.
it lifted itself up inside the scaffolding. The motor was on.
I came in the industry at the tail end of that heavy lifting. No, I'm glad I came in. Line arrays were starting to creep in at about 8 years into the industry.
Really? Wow.
You missed all the fun.
Yeah, you missed all the humping the shit up on the stage, and oh my
Yeah, I'm glad
God.
I missed that. I came in when Point Source was, becoming pretty dialed, and the major players were starting to come in, focus, and there wasn't, there was still accidents could happen and things could go wrong, and you had to know what you were doing. But
You
yeah,
still do. It's just a little different.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
just to
know.
clarify, you Michael, you were talking about Point Source, the technology, not Point Source, Kurt's
Yes,
company.
correct. That's correct. That's correct. So, but
I was around then.
yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's a lot of work.
It amazes me how some of the new guys just don't understand how line arrays actually work, and that you just can't guess. You can sort of guess and come close, but you really need to plot the things out to get the right number of boxes and the right curve, and to do
Just
everything
even the
correctly.
splay angles.
Oh, the splay
I
angles, and
just asked the
people.
unicorns.
Yeah, but it's all they don't know how to do it. They do
No, they
auto
don't.
splay.
They don't,
They
and
do
they
auto
think.
splay.
Yep. Well, I usually hit auto splay, and then I tighten it up and play with it a little bit until I get it the
Some
way I want it. But
There's a
majority
guy
don't.
Well,
in my
the one
region.
thing about Myers, they do have a lot of tools to assist you
yes,
in
they
getting
do.
the
Oh yeah,
sound
map is
right. I mean,
fantastic.
I think they were one of the first people to come up with the outside processing.
Yeah.
Even in the early days, they had the S1, the S2, the M3. They always had that outbox
Yeah.
processing, and then they moved into the CP10, which was sim rooms and all that stuff. I mean, now the latest technology. What is it? The Space Map Go and
The
the
Galileo Galaxy. Yeah,
Is there
that's
Yeah.
anybody?
Michael, did you ever get a chance to meet Thorny?
Yes. Yes, I know.
What a
Yeah.
sweetheart. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that guy.
I was so,
I
talking about the fires,
is he retired now?
he's retired. Talking about the fires though, his home burned down when
Really?
the Bay Area had all those
The
fires
Oakland,
years
the
ago.
Oakland fire.
It was up in Napa, up in that area.
oh yeah, they've had a couple up there.
Yeah.
So is
Even
So
anybody
recently,
else?
Is
like some
is him and his wife
wineries
still
got
have
burned.
their business? They were making pottery,
yes.
doing
Yep.
something like that. They were
Yep.
cup. I don't know
No,
what they were doing.
I saw him at NAM, and it was just wonderful to say hello and catch up,
Oh God,
and
he's such a sweetheart. I just miss him.
I was
So,
kind of shocked. I guess he occasionally still does some stuff for us at times. So
Really? That's
yeah,
so cool.
so has anybody else taken sim training from way back when? Sim two?
I took Sim 2. That was when we used to test, and it was really hard. Like, and then I started working for the company and grading the tests. Hardly anybody got a high grade.
Oh, I almost failed.
yeah. Didn't Dave Lawler make a career out of it?
Because you didn't have Magoo teaching you. That's all.
I got
Yeah,
lucky.
that's it. Yes.
Audio bought a sim system, and it came with training for one engineer, and
Yeah.
Al Scout gave that to me. So I
Yep.
did the sim training.
Yep.
And I
Oh,
can't remember who taught me. Was it Thorny teaching that stuff?
Thorny
Probably
taught,
was.
Bob
Yeah.
McCarthy taught. No, Bob McCarthy still is very
Well,
active.
I've taken optimization a couple times with Magoo, but then Bob McCarthy was teaching. And I was like, okay, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
go
think it
one
was.
more time just to, and I actually
But what
the two teaching styles are highly complementary. If you go to one with Magoo and one with McCarthy, then it all makes sense.
Yeah, and what's interesting, our class isn't about, you actually learn something you can apply to anything. It's not about operating our product. It's a true educational experience,
That is correct.
So
That's
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Thorny actually came out on probably 8 or 10 shows that I did in arenas where he actually came out to do the EQ, and got a chance to work with him on that. And he brought out his rack of parametrics, and all this stuff. And we had a great time. He was just such a wonderful guy.
Yeah, now it's
somebody said Dave Lawler. I don't know who said Dave,
I
but
Yeah,
did.
Dave Lawler.
I
Yeah.
did.
and then you talk about SPL and getting sued. Ken's gone, but the first time I met Dave Lawler, he was I forgot where I was working for a local sound company, and he was with Van Halen, and he had a sim, and he was documenting every show because they got sued because of being too loud. And so Dave would sit there and sim and monitor and record every show. This was God, what, 30 years ago. And that was a really cool experience meeting Dave Lawler for the first time doing that. So
Yeah, very special guy. Very, very special guy.
yeah.
Nice guy.
Yeah.
I'd like to get him in the room. I haven't seen him in a while, but I would love to get him in the room. He's doing not sure what he's doing right now. I know he got into a situation where he was owning pianos, concert grand pianos.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't he with Diana Krall? Wasn't he
Yeah,
touring with her
for a
forever?
long
Yeah.
long time.
she's
Diana
amazing.
Krall, Nora Jones. She was any female artist that had a piano. He seemed to have.
Super nice guy.
I got tickets to see that the Japanese female pianist whose name escapes me. I bought them like 2 months ago, and it's for like April of next year.
Yeah. Oh, I know
I
you're
can't think of her
talking about. I'm
name.
blanking
I can't
The
think of her
female
name.
Yoshiki, is that it? The female Yoshiki?
Isn't the one she wears like hot dresses? She's
Don't know, but her, she's like a total Oscar Peterson fan, and her bebop playing is just
oh no, this is someone who's
mind-blowing.
really fast.
All right, guys. Well, we've been on live now. It's going by so fast. It's crazy how fast it went by, an hour and a half. So I'm going to say goodbye to the outside world right now. But before I do, I know we wanted to hear a quick update from Chris, who just walked out of the room.
Yeah. I was just going to say he left us.
What can we talk about until he gets back? Let's see. All right. Remember to share the show, give it the thumbs up, but this is really an amazing experience. I look forward to this every week. It is to be with you guys, and the conversations that we have are just, they're just spectacular. They're they're just really enlightening, and they're come from the heart, and I just love it. I love being with you guys, and I love sharing the time with you. And it's amazing how smart you guys are. I mean, and how articulate you are. At least most of you guys.
Well, I'd like to, Jan. I'd like to say something then really stupid.
More cowbell.
When we were
I got
talking
it.
about the bass thing, I was thinking what I would love to do is to be able to go back and listen to John Bonham tracks as with lead kick drum. Because there was a guy who could play on a single kick drum a bunch of stuff that most people can't play on double kick drums.
I did several Day on the Greens in Oakland, and with bands that were opening for Led Zeppelin at that time. And I'm telling you what, microphones.
My two favorite drummers at the time.
Kick mics didn't stand a chance.
Yeah. My two favorite drummers of all time, was John Bonham and Keith Moon. I mean, those two guys. I would have loved to seen them do a drum contest. Boy, that would have been phenomenal.
Lucky enough to have seen both of them.
And
Me too.
the sad news is that Vinny is, not well, right? I don't know how many people
Vinny
know.
Caliuto?
Yeah, so
That's
oh man.
He had a neck operation, and apparently it went wrong, and he didn't play his instrument for 6 months. And now he's back playing, but at any moment his fingers can get numb and he has to stop playing. So he's done for live shows. He's only doing studio work.
Kind of like
where if this numbness occurs, he can just stop and then pick up later when it's gone away.
I saw him in 2018.
Yeah, Ringo
with
still
Jeff
goes
Beck.
on. I hear he's going out again this year with his all-star band.
He's selling out everywhere. I mean, it's great.
He deserves it. He deserves it.
They were here at this new outdoor venue in downtown Clearwater called The Sound, and ESI did it. Eric did the house sound system in there. It's all acoustics, It sounds amazing. It's really well done. And I went and saw that show, and holy crap, he's got so many talented musicians, and they rotate through. It's just an amazing band.
We did them last summer, and the most important thing on the rider is the baked potato that he demands.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. They sent runners out to every store in Bend, Oregon, trying to find a specific type of baked potato.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the baked potato over in
baked
LA.
potato, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about a real baked potato.
Oh, real baked potato.
And I was just about to say, he seems so grounded and such a nice guy.
That was your first show with the 2100s, right?
Yeah.
And Ben, no, who was that? Who was your first show in Ben last year that you were all worried about?
Oh, that was Sting. And
it was Sting.
And it's
because
it was Howard was mixing, and I'm like, great, I got it. My first thing out the gate, first show of the year, and it's that. And he was the greatest guy ever.
So maybe Ringo needs a particular baked potato, because remember that childhood experiment where you can electrify or a baked potato connect
make it a battery or light up a light.
So maybe that's how he charges himself up at 82 years old.
Yeah, absolutely.
82.
So anyway, Chris,
powered Tesla fucking works great, man.
So Chris, we were waiting for you to come back to talk. Give us a quick update of what's happening with your situation in regards to the Palisades fire.
The quick summary for Michael's benefit, because he hasn't been on, but so I have X40s over 900s, and the fire started, and I was alone, and I couldn't solo the 900s, so I had to leave the 900s and only could get the X40s out in my cases. So at any rate, I spent all of my day from 10:30. Well, I got there about 11:30. So 11:30 up until 6 o'clock at night when I left. The main house burned at 6:40. So it wasn't like I waited too long to get out. But my ADUs survived. So my 900s are in the other room here in their flight cases. But so the news is that all of the horror stories that you've heard about permits taking a shit ton of time, and the administrative state, of California just kind of sticking their finger in the fan blade and throwing bananas. It's all true. So just one little anecdote. There was a guy in Malibu who had one of these seaside homes, and he just completed his foundation. So he had to dig out his old septic, get that all cleaned up, put in a new septic, put in all of the new pilasters, these underground columns. His foundation to end up with a flat cement area upon which to build his house was $2.5 million.
I was gonna say, I heard that the foundations are as much as the houses were at the time.
Yeah. So Malibu is really sucking compared to the Palisades. Palisades, pretty much all of the houses are all cleaned up. Those who intend to rebuild are all in the kind of structural engineering phase, and permits are taken forever, and it's just it's just an administrative hell state. That's all.
Very frustrating, hey? Very frustrating.
Frustrating, yes.
Yes. And with that, I'll just say one quick thing. If you really want updates, that guy, what's his name? I just got mental block. Adam Carolla, yeah. He seems to have his finger on the pulse on this.
Well, it's funny because before he was a comedian, he was in construction, so he actually knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. I love his videos. He walks around and talks about stuff. It's been great watching him.
Yeah, you sent me a video of his that he was going through Home Depot, and he really knew what he was
so
doing.
Funny.
It blew my mind.
I thought you'd love that. I sent that to you. I said, "Oh, Jan's gonna laugh his ass off when he watches this one."
I did. I thought it was great.
Not gonna work.
It was great.
Not gonna work.
Yeah.
He says he walks around and looks in people's carts and goes, "Not gonna work."
Yeah, that's funny. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Remember, share the show. We're going to stay in the room. If you want to join us, DM any one of us. We'll send you the invite. And just have a great week. So make it happen. And we'll see you again next week for our 290th consecutive show. And have a great holiday season, too. Bye now. And bye. Bye, 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 bye. Let me change this to a gallery view so we can all see each other waving goodbye. Bye, bye, bye. All right. And we are off the air. Not yet. Quite. We're not quite off the air, but we will be. And